Today's witch word of the day is abracadabra.
I'm dead.
Avada Kedavra. Yeah, I mean, that's what inspired the Harry Potter spell. This is an interjection. Perhaps one of the oldest and most recognized magical phrases. Abracadabra has been around since the 2nd century BCE. Its origins are contested, as scholars say that abracadabra emerged from the late Latin or late Greek. Others hypothesize that it could be related to the Hebrew habracadabra. I can't say words. Which translates as "the blessing has spoken" or "I will create as I speak." We do understand it as a word generally meant to invoke magical power. Abracadabra is classified as a reductive spell, which means it would have been written out as a complete word on the first line and then with one letter missing on the next and then another, so it would slowly kind of become like a triangle where it goes down to one letter. The idea behind that was that reductive spells make the word shorter, so it would be make a pain or illness gradually diminish, so it would be like a way of healing your sicknesses. And for some, is used as a nonsense word, implying gibberish in place of supposedly magical words.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series. So here we are, Words of the Witches. This is This is episode 49 of the show.
Oof.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
So, silence! Here now, the words of the witches. So, this issue is called Charmed Lives. Also, Charmed Lives. It's a double entendre. It could be both.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I'll get into, there's a note about that at the end, which I'll get into. It was published July 21st, 2010, written by Paul Ruditis, co-written by Raven Gregory, artwork by Dave Hoover, cover art by David Seidman. Well, cover A. This has several different covers. I have two myself. Cover A was David Seidman. Cover B was Mark Sparacchio. And then cover C was just the other one I have is just a season 8 promotional picture with a triquetra in the background.
Kevin.
And yes.
Should we say who we are?
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! I'm so out of it. Hi, I'm Kevin, that guy, and you're you.
And I'm Shawn, the ultimate comic book fan.
There you go. You are ultimate comic book fan. Yeah, I haven't decided if we were gonna have monikers. I mean, we'll have to come up with something. But yeah. That's us. That's gonna be before us in the future. Before this in the future, just so you know.
Yeah. And speaking on the covers, I love this cover B. I think it looks so good. Like, this is the best I've ever seen anybody draw the sisters, let alone Phoebe.
Cover B.
Oh, is that the cover B? Am I looking at the cover A where they're standing in front of the chalkboard?
Yeah, so this issue had a lot of different covers. So cover A is them with standing, and they look so good. And this is actually based off of other promotional pictures. Almost like they took pictures and kind of painted over them, maybe. Because this is the Piper is based off a season 4 picture. The Page is based off a season 8 picture. And then the Phoebe was based off of a season 8 picture that was used on the official magazine, actually. And there's a variation because on this one it's the triquetra, but on the issue itself it was Charmed, the title logo in the background. Mm-hmm. So there's two versions of cover A, and this is the one they use on the volume 1 cover as well.
Gotcha.
And then cover B is this one where. They're drawing a season 8 promotional picture with a triquetra on that background, and then cover C was an actual season 8 promo picture, and then they even had a cover D, which was another season 8 promo picture. So they really were marketing this issue, but I think because it sold 17,000 copies when it first released, they had to keep releasing it.
Now, just as a tease, I'm gonna set this up now. I haven't told Kevin this yet, but I texted him. There's a part in this comic that makes me laugh so hard, and I haven't told him what it is, but I can't wait till we get to it, and I can
It's
tell
gonna
you.
be fun. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. Coloring by Milan Parvanov. Letters by Jim Campbell and edited by Ralph Tedesco. There's lots of people with comic books. So page 1, we have a club, it looks like, called Luscious. Ooh, Luscious. With little hearts. And there's like really beefy, almost unrealistic bodyguards there.
Almost unrealistic? I'd say they're unrealistic.
Yeah, they look like not real. See, that's the thing about the comics, because the artwork in these comics is very hit and miss in the artistry of it. So we'll see. But yeah, there's Luscious Bar. There's music wafting in the air. We see the notes in the air. And then we're inside the club, and you can just see like everyone's dancing. And then we see this lady in a sexy little slip dress, silver, with like a nice hairstyle, I guess. She's a beautiful black woman. Or is she? Is she black? I can't tell. She's ethnic of some kind. Yeah, she's ethnic of some kind. And she's talking to a man, and they're like, "Who's this guy? He's coming, right?" So they're meeting somebody, and then they turn around, and this lady's like, "You're not supposed to be here." And they're like, "Is that him? That's not him." And she looks like she's gonna throw the drink in her face, the martini she's holding.
Well, it does say here it's 18 months into Happily Ever After, so 18 months after the show. So I like that.
Yeah.
Like, some time has passed, so we're gonna kind of see where the
Right.
sisters are at this point.
So we're about a year and a half later from where we last saw them.
Mm-hmm. So continuing on the scene, we get this picture of this lady in this very long dress that very much does not fit into the club attire. And she says, "What are you planning? Or what you are planning is not part of the grand design. The enemies you scheme against have fulfilled their role in the battle." So it looks like this is an Angel of Destiny, which you teased last episode, Kevin.
Yeah, so this is the one that was from the issue 0 that was they were teasing us, and now here she is. Oh,
Yeah.
these people do not look like they see her in the club, so she's like invisible to the rest of the world in this club, except for these people.
Oh, you're right.
I wonder if they're
Yeah.
frozen, because usually when an Angel of Destiny comes, like everyone around freezes, so maybe that's what happened.
That's probably it. And that'd be hard to show in comic form.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she says, "It is not your," and he says, "I control my own destiny." And then Nina, the beautiful black woman, says, "Oh no, let me." And she grabs him on the shoulder.
Yeah. And this panel right here of Hogan, this is the Hogan is the man.
Okay.
That's like that's like the drawing that I think they were showing as the Warlock in issue 0. If you
I
kind
can
of see the
that. Yeah, it
similarity.
does look familiar.
So
I have to say, like, I don't know, the artwork is a little jarring to me. It's not what I'd picture for Charmed. It reminds me of like the sexy fairy tales that Xenoscope puts out, which is like very different to what Charmed is.
yeah. And we're gonna see a fun journey with the artwork as we go on, because it starts to change. Every issue is like a different artist.
Okay.
So we'll have a time with it. But yeah. So the next page, it has Nina, and she's like pointing her finger, and all these like red wavy spirally things envelop the Angel of Destiny. And she's like, "No, you can't do this to me." And she and then she's like gets sucked up into like this like portal in the sky. It's like, what is happening? And it causes this other lady to spill this drink on this man. She's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He's like, "Oh, I got you spilled on." And then we see in the bottom panel, Hogan's like eyes all go glowy eye burger. And and I guess he starts a riot. Like he can like make people get angry and bring their, I forget what it is that he does exactly, but he has the power to like kind of cause riots. And kind of like what the Lord Dyson was doing, like by feeding on their repressions. He has a similar kind of power like that.
And
So
him being called Hogan, it makes me wonder, like, if he's based on the Asgardian Hogan. So that would
oh,
be fun to see.
interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, the Angel of Destiny is swept away, and then this guy's like, "Let's get out of here. Let's go."
I couldn't tell when I first read this what was happening. I had to do like a triple take because when the lady spills the drink, I was like, "Is that blood? Did they like kill
Yeah.
this Angel of Destiny?"
And I love how she's like looks because she spills on the next panel. Has her going, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And
So
it makes me wonder though, like who has the power to do this to an Angel of Destiny too? Because are they supposed to be like the super powerful?
that's true because in the Zero issue, it built them up as like they're like the most powerful. It seemed like.
Yeah, even in the show, like they were above the elders, above the avatars. They were really pretty high up on the hierarchy there. So who
Yeah,
is this? The woman who just shows up and like can do this?
who's
Interesting.
also very sexy in her silver dress. She's got body yaddy yaddy.
She does the boobages, the leggards, like
Yeah.
everything. The butt,
So,
which we'll see
yeah.
later.
Ooh. In answer to Hogan's question of where did she send her, Nina says, "I never quite know. Hopefully someplace nasty, like the up there." "You sure he's coming? He'll be here. And
Who is
he's
it?
got what we need. I got what you need."
This is
So
so
we have,
disgusting.
yeah, this was so weird. It was so random.
He's like,
We
but the
have
question
it
is,
looks like,
can you take it? I got what you need, but can you take it? I'm like, ew.
yeah. So we have a new character. He looks like maybe a leprechaun or a little person,
Yeah.
and it looks like his name is Weasel, unless that's just like what he's calling him, like he's a weasel. So it looks like Hogan and Weasel exchange money for some sort of scroll, but Weasel grabs Nina's butt for reasons.
No tip.
No tip, just my tip. Yeah, bitch.
And she looks at him like, how dare you? She looks at him and she's like, Hogan's like, Nina, and the weasel's like, ah!
Was that the rogue scream?
Not quite, but close. So she's put him in all these weird spiral flamey things too, like she did the Angel of Destiny. He's like burned up, and then he's left bloodied on the floor, like cold blood murdered. And all these people just walk around, or they run away from him. I don't know what's. Oh, I guess that people are fighting. People are fighting all around him.
Oh yeah.
And so they don't even notice that he's like, there's a dead guy on the floor, or maybe it's just drink. I can't tell. It might be a drink, but it looks like a pool of blood underneath him to me.
I think it's blood.
Yeah. And then Hogan's looking at him like, what? You're going crazy. She's like, what? He grabbed my ass.
But like when he grabbed her ass, he didn't even grab her cheek. He like grabbed her crack. Who does that?
Yeah, he did. He's probably like trying to finger her hole there. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Ew.
Her up there. All right. So the next page, we start at a new scene. We're at, it looks like Magic School, I believe.
Yeah.
And it says, just like this isn't any old school, and I'm not exactly your average witch. So this is Paige talking. And it looks like she's presenting the Book of Shadows to students. She says, this is not your typical textbook. Now, I know most of you are familiar with this, but for the new students, this is the Book of Shadows, a collection of spells handed down through the generations of Warren witches. One of the most powerful books of magic ever created, and the reason for most of the grief in my life. But that's a story for another day. Yawn! It's the rudest, most like intrusive yawn ever. It's all in exclamations. It has its own font.
Yeah. A funny story is, I'm in Cinderella right now, and one of my castmates is like, one of her biggest pet peeves is people who yawn like loud, go, oh! And so this reminded me of that. Like, yeah, like, ew, why do you gotta do that? I gotta say though, I do have a beef with this because
Tell
I do
me.
not like how the Book of Shadows is drawn. For one,
Okay.
it seems a little smaller than normal, which I can forgive. But that triquetra, it does not. This is drawn like it's the Irish triquetra. Ours does not overlap like this because you can see kind of like folding on top of itself, like overlapping on top of itself. When our triquetra is all one, one level, one layer. It just and it's not does not look like that in the Book of Shadows. It made me mad. And then I was mad that Paige would even bring the Book of Shadows to magic school. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is full of irresponsible magic teenagers. Why are you bringing your family heirloom into this? You can tell them about it, you can teach about it, but do not bring your own book to the school. I did not like this. And Leo's just sitting there in the background like, I approve.
My biggest issue is this looks nothing like Paige. It looks like Paige and Phoebe had a baby, and that's who's presenting this book.
Yeah, she does not. Yeah, no, they don't. And you can see she has like that strawberry blonde hair again too. They're trying to give her that season 6 hairstyle again.
Yeah.
Which put a pin in that because I have something to say about that too at the end.
Oh.
But yeah. So we cut to the next page and we see that the person that did the yawn was this soccer mom named Jessalyn. Like, why? She looks like a soccer mom. How old is this lady? This girl. I'm Carol Brady, coming to learn magic over here. And she's like, am I boring you, Jessalyn? Like, another book? I don't read.
I have to pick up my kids soon. Their match is almost there.
Yeah. So Paige is like getting mad at Jessalyn, and Leo's like, hey, Paige, Jessalyn is a student. Like, yeah, okay, cool. And so, yeah, she's like, I thought we'd be learning magic. Why you just gotta be lectured by the stupid old people that, she says, what'd she say? She's like, one, nowhere close to middle. Oh, yeah, she calls her middle age. It's like, Paige, you're middle age, even though I'm like, look so much older than you. It's so weird. But she's like, here. Paige is like, here, read the Book of Shadows. Like, really, Paige? Really? This is why you suck at being a magic school headmistress. Take my Book of Shadows. And so she's like, so she gives Jessalyn the Book of Shadows. They open it up, and this is where we get a rhyme time moment.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time.
You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Prue.
Wonderful. Witty, but wordy.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
Rhyme time moment. And they open it up. It's Glow is the Book of Shadows, and the spell they say is this: to change one's appearance. I call upon the ancient power to mask me now and in future hours. Hide me well and thoroughly, but not from those called family. And we know this from the show. Do you recognize it?
This was early season 8. This is when they decided that they needed the world to see them as a constant, disguise, except for each other, because they were afraid of the effects being different looking was having on Wyatt as a baby.
Right. Yeah. So this was in the first episode of season 8, Still Charmed and Kicking, was when they first used this. They did do a reversal later on and rewitched, but yeah, that's where we first got that spell.
I just noticed how dark I've got. I'm very Are you afraid of the dark?
Boo. Boo. Aiden Zane. Boo.
Boo.
Anyway, yeah. So Jessalyn says a spell with these two random other students looking at her like, ooh. And it starts glowing. Magic starts flying out of the Book of Shadows. She's like, is it supposed to be doing that?
All right, so a little bit weird to me. We go on to the next page where we see this is a big double page spread, but the spell has turned Jessalyn into something,
a demon, troll, ogre, whatever you are. I don't know.
yeah, demon ogre troll thing, and all the students
Satyr.
are running. Yeah, and Paige is just standing there, and Leo's like, Paige, and Paige is like, oh, I didn't expect it to do that. I didn't expect it to backfire that much. And I'm like, that spell, I don't know how that spell did this to Jesselyn.
No. It doesn't make any sense. This is like, that's not what the spell does. I mean, it's supposed to hide, be a glamour, but not to like, that's not hiding you. That's not going to hide you at all. That's going to make you more seen.
They should have just said, like, she did a spell to look like Caitlyn Jenner, and then it would have worked correctly.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so, yeah, she turned into that. Paige is doing like this weird, like, I guess it's supposed to be telekinetic orbing, but it looks like an orb shield to me, like over the book.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so I guess she's just keeping the book safe from falling down onto the floor and being drooled on by this other creature that Jesselyn turned into. The next page, we have rocks. And it says, we're all doomed. And you hear, crack, boom, and the rocks break open. Love the onomatopoeia. They're right, like, on a mountainside over, well, I guess it's a tree above the Golden Gate Bridge. And Nina and Hogan go into the tree.
I just get to head to the page with my funny thing on it, and I'm laughing all over.
Okay, then it is. This is what I thought it might be, because I love it so much too. I love it so much. It cracks me up too. I have that in my notes, so let's see. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So now we go over to Phoebe and Coop. So Phoebe and Coop are at home. Phoebe's looking for her keys. And Coop is kind of making fun of her, like, where's a camera when you need one? You look stupid. And I love this picture, too, because it's like Phoebe bent over with her miraculous ass, like, up in the air. It's like, yeah, give me that pose.
I love that.
Coop hands Phoebe her keys, and she's about to leave. And Coop's basically like, relax. Like, you're, like, paying the electric bill at that place. Like, they can't fire you from the paper. You are the paper. So she goes to leave, but then she is beamed back
Beamed.
beamed. She's beamed back, and she's like, Coop, come on, did I forget to kiss you? Here's your kiss. And he's like, that wasn't me, babe.
So yeah, I do have the note about Coop lovingly watching Phoebe's ass in the air. That made me happy, because he's like, you're so cute. But we also have a power play moment now.
Oh.
Power play. Beaming. So let's tell everybody what beaming is. Beaming is a form of teleportation where the user disappears and appears in a pink glow originating at the heart. This form of teleportation is used by cupids and cupid witches. Beaming is almost instant, and users can carry others and inanimate objects with them as they teleport, so long as they establish and maintain physical contact with them. Some cupids possess the innate ability to beam, such as what this is happening here. We'll find out what's happening the next page. Over time, they can become infused with the power from the cupid ring. So normally you're supposed to have a ring to allow you to beam. Cupids get a ring that gives them the ability, but then over time, cupids can like absorb the power from the ring into their body so they can naturally do it. But then you can pass down the power to your offspring. Like a cupid can pass it down to their offspring.
Okay.
Yes, which is a new thing, because this is actually Phoebe's daughter and Coop's daughter is the very first cupid witch hybrid ever to exist. When you think about it. So this whole power is still being learned about with this whole genetic splicing.
And the way it's drawn here, it makes Phoebe look very Psylocke.
Oh yeah, I love that. Her little energy bubble here.
Yep.
Yeah, so some cupids require the ring to teleport, and some do not. But there you go.
The next page is the page, Kevin.
Okay. Oh, so I can talk about it. Okay. Oh yeah. I have. All right. Well, let me tell you what's happening in this page, and we can talk about it because oh my god. So we turn to the next page, and we see Prue in her like bassinet, and it's like, oh, this fugly ass baby. So yeah, like Prue, you beamed me. How dare you? Did you just use your powers for the first time? Oh, and Phoebe's like, she picks up Prue. Okay, it was really nice. They named her Prue. Oh, how cute. She picks up the baby. Looks like a little like glowworm. It's like, she's like, I'm so jealous that my baby has a better power than me. And like, but oh my gosh. And so yeah, they talk about like, oh, the baby is so cute. It's having I like, okay, goodbye, baby. Goodbye, baby. Don't teleport me again. Goodbye. And that's the end of the
Well, to add insult to injury, this baby looks like a little man has been shrunk down, an old man. But then Phoebe says, "How can I leave this face?" And I'm like, I can think of a few reasons.
Oh.
I think you have to post this picture of this baby.
I will. How can I leave this fugly baby behind? I don't know.
Kill it with fire, Phoebe.
It's so ugly.
I'm glad it wasn't just me. I'm glad it gives you a kick too.
No, yeah, it's yeah. I love that though. How can I leave this face? I'm like,
It wouldn't be a problem.
like, and it's so crazy to think these two beautiful people make a baby like this. Sure,
Right.
and then now I know why you named her Prue. Because I love my sister so much. Oh.
All right. So the next page, we get a very fabulous like one pager. It's just one panel on the whole page. It's Phoebe going all Psylocke-y again. Coop is holding the thing, and Phoebe says, "Okay, this might be a problem because Prue has teleported or beamed her back once again."
Yes. All right. I do love that pink glow in this. It's really magical and cool in this panel.
Yeah.
All right. Now we cut to Piper in the kitchen, and she is making something, a soup or something. It looks kind of gross. Really looks like witch's brew for real. And she's holding Melinda, their daughter Melinda. Oh, and her little cute little toddler thing. But then she bends down to grab a pot, and then she comes back up, and all of the bottles on the counter on the stove are like stacked up, and she's like, "How did my potion bottles get to there?" And I'm actually mad at this because this looks nothing like their kitchen.
It really doesn't.
Like the stove is over there, but the fridge is not right there. It's not where the fridge lives. Did they remodel this this floor? Does not look like their floor. I'm very perturbed. Yeah, so that's that one.
Well, at least Melinda doesn't look like a fucking troll.
True.
So suddenly in the kitchen, whatever Piper is cooking, these tree branches come out of the pot and start like going around the kitchen. Piper's trying to freeze them, but she's not able to. And so since her power's not working, she grabs a huge fucking Jason Voorhees knife and just starts slashing away at the branches.
It feels like it grew. Like if you look at the
Yeah.
knife in the page before, it's like a normal knife, and then she goes to grab it, it's like a machete.
That's true. You're very right. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So she's cutting these vines when suddenly Chris and Wyatt walk in and they're like, this was another part that made me laugh. Because Wyatt's like, Mommy? And Chris is like, Beanstalk! Which this was a little weird to me because they've grown up so much, it seems like.
That's
So,
what they are way too old. That's the thing. They're way too old for this is supposed to be a year and a half later. No.
yeah.
No. They would not be this old. How did you have a baby? Like Melinda even looks like she's like what? Like 1. Like there's no
Yeah.
way.
Beanstalk!
I believe they fixed that in issue 2. I think they're more age appropriate after this issue.
Okay.
So, but yeah. All right. And so the next page is another 2-page. Piper just tangled up in vines. And Melinda's just sitting there like, aha, I like being tangled up in vines. And she's like, boys, can you help mommy a little?
And she's very boob.
Yeah, very boob.
All right. So fast forward to. It looks like this is. Who is this? I can't even tell anymore. In the green. So that's Phoebe, right? In the green?
Yes, Phoebe in the green and Paige in the red vest thing.
Okay. So fast forward, there's a pizza box because of the food debacle. As Phoebe walks in and said, "What happened to dinner?" basically, and Piper says the meal didn't agree with me. And she says, "I think Melinda's coming into her power." So it looks like it may have been Melinda who set off the whole cooking debacle. And then Phoebe shares, "I know the feeling. Prue teleported me today repeatedly." And then we have Paige come in, and she says, "The next generation of witches will be the death of us all. Take my word on this." So we're very much setting up this whole idea that the Charmed ones have been through pretty much everything, but raising the new set of witches is going to be a little harder. And Paige even says, like, we've already beaten the demons into submission. Why are we having so much trouble with these kids? And then Phoebe says, just wait till the twins start using their powers. The twins, Kevin, the twins!
The twins! Oh!
And then Piper says, yeah, but I'll still take this grief over fighting my love, Zanky, any day.
Yeah! Oh, Zanky friend. Oh.
Zanky friend.
But again, this is supposed to be the manor. This looks nothing like the manor. What is this?
You're right.
I'm just like, I don't know. This is not the arrangement that we have. So anyway,
it feels like the writing is like pretty on point, but yeah, whoever the artist is not a Charmed fan. Right,
you can tell that they just kind of I'm drawing what they tell me to draw, and yeah, so yeah. All right, next page we cut back to Nina and Hogan again. They're crawling up a cliff, and their big old butts. And it's like, told you, it wouldn't be too hard. It's too hard for you, baby. And she's like, well, the view's not half bad. Maybe she's seen him hard. I don't know, but she's looking at his butt, and yeah. So this is a sexy little drawing crawling up the cave. But then you hear rumble, big butt. Yeah, big butts, and I cannot lie. But then you hear rumble, and then bats fly out, and they see 3 little like cavernous areas, and they're like, "Are we there yet?" Looks like we're on the right track because I see a skeleton and glowy orbies. Ooh! And then all of a sudden you cut to their faces looking completely shocked, scary, like weird. I don't know, like very wide-eyed, and they look and they see something crazy.
All right, what we see on this last glorious page, it's a double spread again. Hogan says, look like someone is expecting us. And we see this like hellscape with like these red pterodactyl demons We see rats on skulls that still have eyes. We see a snake. Oh, did I forget to mention the naked people hanging from chains?
And like really emaciated naked people. Like,
Yeah.
well,
So it
this one over
looks
here
like.
looks pretty buff. Sexy.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. And this woman.
So it looks like they're at
yeah.
the gates of hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is the end of that issue. Oh, let's see. Overall thoughts about that.
I remember you mentioned in our introduction that some people didn't like this one because it felt like not a lot happened. And like I can kind of see that because we had a lot of wasted space. It's almost like they didn't have enough story to fill the whole comic. But I am excited at the prospects of where this comic can go.
Yeah. I had a kind of a hard time getting through into this issue. Because when I originally read the comics, I read them in the volume, so I had like the full set of like 5 to 7 issues at a time, and I just read straight through. So having to like isolate it and read a single issue alone, I was like, ugh. Like I'm kind of curious to see where Nina Hogan are going for, because it's like they're after something we don't know what it is yet. They like seem to be very powerful, so their story is interesting. But the whole like Charmed Lives, I was bothered by all of the things, all of their issues.
Yeah.
Because I was mad that the manor doesn't look like the manor. I was mad of the inaccuracies and the questionable decisions about like the Book of Shadows and Magic School. And like maybe the beaming was okay. I didn't mind the beaming as much. It was fun, even though I had the fugly baby. It made me laugh. They definitely need to get the kids aged appropriately, the Piper's kids. And fix that Book of Shadows. I didn't like the front of the Book of Shadows, but otherwise, yeah, I guess it did give me something to lead off of, because I am excited to see what comes next.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand. I totally agree with you. Like the art is just completely wrong for this comic. Like you said, the manner's all wrong. The sisters, you can't even tell who they are half the time because they're so like off from their source. But yeah, the story's there. I could have used a little deeper of a story, but it's still a good start.
Yeah. So in these issues, the comic issues, we're doing tips for future white layers.
Oh, we're really just messengers? Guides? Think of us as guardian angels for good witches.
Tips for future white lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
We're doing it earlier than we have back for the novels, so we're doing it now. What's the moral of the issue?
I think the moral of this issue is to never stop learning, because once you think you've conquered everything and done everything, you're going to be hit with something that you're not expecting.
That's good. I like that a lot. Oh. Mine is kind of going back to something we talked about on Hanging with the Halliwells, because based on what we've seen, it's probably wise to bind your children's powers.
Yeah.
Definitely teach them about magic, and then slowly allow them to have access to it and their abilities as they learn, and as they learn responsibility, especially if you have multiple children. It just seems like a recipe for things to go amok. Next thing is onomatopoeia, which is where we pick our favorite onomatopoeia, which is a word that's like a sound in the like very comic book style, like the thwacks and the booms and the rumbles, those type of things. What is your favorite onomatopoeia? I know it's probably the same as mine.
Probably. Well, mine, I don't know. Mine was almost, it shouldn't count as onomatopoeia because they actually just basically used the word. But I like when it said rumble.
Rumble. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I thought about that too. That's on page 19. But I think I changed it. I changed it to "ya." Oh, it makes me laugh.
Oh yeah, I forgot about yawn.
Although who knows? It could have just been, might have just been said like "yawn." So who knows? maybe it doesn't count.
Yeah.
If it doesn't count, I'll do the Rumble one too. Rumble.
Rumble.
So, what is your MVP, most valuable panel? Your favorite one?
I think the one I like the most is when Phoebe gets beamed in the second time. It was the full pager where she's encased in the purple light. It just was like well drawn, even though it didn't look like the characters, but I liked it.
That's my favorite one too. We're simpatico.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're
It's so pretty to me. That pink glow like does it all for me. I'm like, so cool.
Yeah.
It's very, you said very Psylocke, very X-Men. It's just a very cool to see some magic in the comics,
Mm-hmm.
What's next? Then I have the sexiest drawing. So this is where we can choose either you're the hottest character, the most sensual moment, or just a generally badass like drawing that you like.
I think, well, I'm going to do kind of a mix of both because I
Okay.
think Nina is the sexiest character, but particularly the sexiest panel is when Nina and Hogan are climbing and we see like the butt shot and they purposely draw Hogan's butt like so big. I just want to put my face in there and go,
Same again. That's what I chose. That climbing up the mountain with the butts, and she's just like, "Oh, we got a nice view." There's some flirty banter. There's big old butts. It's good. It's a good sexy time. So now we're gonna get into the issue ranking, and so because we don't give it letter grades, we have fun little witchy phrases to call it. So I gave them to you, but I'm going to tell the listeners how they go. So an exceptional ranking we're calling magically delicious. If you think it's great, like a B grade, we call it pretty witchin'. Like it's bitchin', but it's pretty witchin'. If we think it's good, we're calling it a sorcerer's apprentice. So like it's got some potential. Bad will be disenchanting, after the Disenchanted movie that's coming out soon. Ooh, disenchanting. Yeah. And then if we absolutely hated it, horrible, we call it vanquishable. So, what is your ranking for this issue?
So I'm going to say it's a sorcerer's apprentice. I say that it's just middle of the road to me because like it does get me to want to read more, but I also see it as if this is the first episode and you haven't watched the show, they could have laid out the story better, I think. Like having the Nina and Hogan in a club and the Angel of Destiny shows up was kind of like random. Like I think they could have had Nina and Hogan show up somewhere where the Angel of Destiny is, and the Angel of Destiny kind of been like, how did you get in here? Or no one's ever permeated these walls, and like have them actually like defeat it that way. Then we'd know right away, wow, these two are powerful.
Yeah, we'd have our kind of like guiding into this situation versus just an abrupt, there she is.
Yeah.
And it's just weird too because it's in a bar. Like I would make sense if she came into them while they're in the cave. That would make more sense to me.
Yeah,
than, like,
exactly.
In a crowded bar.
And at least like the Angel of Destiny sets up like, okay, they're most likely after the Charmed ones because she says like they've already leave her be. They have done their chore.
Yeah. So, and I'm gonna give it a disenchanted.
Oh.
I know. Just because I know the comic books get better, and like I have a ringling, an inkling of things to come, which I'm excited for. But overall, I was like, ugh, I don't care for this one.
Yeah.
All right, I do have a few notes though about this. So in this week, I talked about how we see Paige's hair is like strawberry blonde, which makes sense because in season 6, when Phoebe had her vision quest and she saw the future of future Wyatt and future Chris, and Paige had strawberry blonde hair and was working at magic school.
Wow.
So it's interesting how they kind of did bring that back.
So it's funny because I imagine she only had that hair in the future because that was her hair in that season. But yeah, this fulfills the prophecy.
Yeah. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
17,000 copies were sold. I mentioned that. Paul Ruditis explained that the title Charmed Lives means that both the Halliwell sisters' lives are charmed and that the show lives on. Charmed lives, charmed lives. Oh. Talked about the difference between the chalkboard with the triquetra and the logo. The official cover, the one with that you liked, has Piper's hands glowing. Did you notice that Piper's hands were glowing?
I did, and I didn't understand why.
This led fans to theorize that maybe she's possibly getting a new power. Just put a
Oh.
pin in that. We'll see if that happens. Things like
Winky
that. But
face.
yeah, winky face. Um, and there's actually an unused cover for this issue 1 that Dave Hoover drew that is just like Paige at magic school with some students behind her looking at like the monster.
Oh. Lame.
Yeah, and Dave Hoover commented on this. He says, "Here's the rough and finished inked art that I did for an unused cover for Charmed. Before I had actually started working on the first issue, the guys at Zenescope told me to start thinking about the cover art for the first issue. I hadn't even done any sketches, and then I got an email from Zenescope giving me a description of what they wanted to see on the cover. A description showing the scene pictured in the art," which is, Paige at Magic School. "I thought it was a little odd that they didn't want all 3 girls to be on the cover on issue 1, but hey, they were calling the shots. I did a rough, which it was approved, and then I penciled and inked the finished art, changing the angle a bit so that the audience was a bit closer to the characters. Then, to my surprise, I see a cover image to issue 1 popping up on internet comic sites. The cover featuring a photo of all 3 girls. I was actually a bit relieved. I liked the art and how David Seidman used the photo, and I was relieved not to have to do another likeness. But again, I thought it odd that they didn't tell me of their decision to use photos. The art is currently for sale." So he sold that drawing on eBay, but isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Like, here, draw this.
Yeah, and it wouldn't describe the issue at all. It's like one quick moment that doesn't even fit in.
Yeah. And so they're like, yeah, draw this, but we're not going to use that at all. We're going to do it for... It just seemed very weird. So,
Yeah.
Interesting. But I'll probably post that on Instagram too, the drawing that wasn't used. Yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna read a blurb about what's next.
Woo!
For issue 2. Ooh. So what's next? No rest for the Wicca. As the Charmed Ones go about settling into their new lives, forces from the underworld prepare to unleash a power that will destroy the sisters once and for all. Meanwhile, Paige accepts a new position and learns the hard way that teaching isn't the easiest job. Phoebe and Piper attend the funeral of Brittany, the first innocent they ever saved, only to find that her death may herald the beginning of something terrifying that will endanger the lives of all the innocents and the Charmed Ones themselves.
Ooh.
So that's for issue 2. Ooh. All right, so we did it. We did issue 1. Look at that.
Yay! We're amazing.
We are amazing. So where can people follow you and find you and all that jazz other than here?
And find me on Instagram at Shawn.Perrette. There you could also find Solving for X, where Kevin and I are currently doing the Phoenix Saga, the original X-Men show. You can find me on Marvelous Galaxy of Disney, our Disney Marvel Star Wars news show, or Once Upon a Cult, where you talk about a different cult every week.
Yeah, cool. All that things.
Yeah.
And you can follow this podcast at Words of the Witches, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Words of Witches on Twitter. Yeah, if you feel like emailing, wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com. I'll see you next week. All the biz nasty, it's fine.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. See you later. Your destiny still awaits.
Bye.